Welcome to Wonderfalls Down Under. I'm Dan,
I'm Anita.
and together we're travelling around Australia with our dog Wally, our cat Paprika, our off-road caravan, and our trusty Toyota Hilux.
And we're here to bring you some pet travelling tips on the road. And this time we're stopping at Karijini National Park.
Yay!
To be honest, this is like a dream destination for me. Like, it's somewhere that I've seen all over, my Instagram stories over the years, and it was absolutely like my absolute favorite thing to see red rock and dirt, and these beautiful swimming holes.
Yep.
Like, everything about this destination is amazing. And guess what? You can do it with pets, and even better, you can do it free. So tune in for this episode.
Yeah, definitely. And as someone from the East Coast, I could never have imagined such a unique and just frankly spectacular place in this beautiful country of ours. The redness of the earth, it's much redder than anything in Central Australia that I'd previously seen. Yeah, it's just got this irony, rusty sort of colour, and it's just absolutely stunning. But like Anita said, let's jump into how we actually made this happen, particularly with pets, because you are in a very remote part of the world, but it is possible, and it is possible to do pretty much free.
And Karijini is not an easy place to get to. It is 1,352 kilometres from Perth.
Plus minus.
So just to give you a little bit of an idea, that's 618 kilometres from Exmouth and 328 kilometres from Karratha.
It's amazing how 322 Ks actually seems like nothing when you've been on the road for a while. It's 4 hours drive, no worries, should be right.
But I guess the closest place you can fly into, not for a cheap fee, is Karratha Airport. So a lot of people that fly in, fly out for work in Karratha and the nearby mines actually go to Karijini for a good cool off and a swim. So look, there is the possibility of flying into Karratha and then maybe hiring a 4-wheel drive and getting to Karijini. But if it's part of your WA trip, then nearest town is Tom Price.
Tom Price.
But before we get to that, we're going to talk about our journey from Exmouth. So we didn't quite do the 618 kilometre drive all the way non-stop. We did stop up at a couple of little destinations along the way. So
Bullara Station was the first one, so we've covered that in a previous episode. But from Bullara, basically we went all the way to somewhere called Cheela Plains Station. Cheela Plains is located about an hour from Tom Price, and it's a really good, proper Aussie station stay. So it's a working cattle station. There are cows, there's red dirt, there's even massive mining trucks there. It's quite a quintessentially Aussie sort of look of a destination.
And look, there's some cool things to do there too. They've got a beautiful cafe. They have got green grass, just where you can have a nice lay. To be honest, there's no grass anywhere else in this destination, so it is nice to have a little patch of grass to set up a picnic.
It's amazing how much we actually take green grass for granted. I so much appreciated that grass at the station when we were there.
I'm pretty sure that Wally really appreciated it too. I'm sure he would have rolled around a bit. And just not only that, there is the station communal vibe. So you really can enjoy yourself staying at the station. I think on Wednesday nights when we were there, they had a burger night, which is super exciting, $13 or something for a burger, but it's more about the community. And there was live music playing, a bit of country music.
You're under the stars.
Yeah, under the stars. Really pretty lights. It was just, it was quite gorgeous. And not only that, there is actually a way, well, I don't know if we should say anything about this, because you do want to support the stations if you can. They do have a caravan park and they do have some accommodation on site.
If you can get a booking.
But if you can't get a booking,
or if you want to go for free,
there is a little stop just across the road. So Dan, go for it.
Yeah, about 5 minutes drive out of the station, because the station itself is not a very small area. There is a roadside stop, fully off the road, lots of shady trees, there's toilets, there's bins. What's it called again? Beasley River Rest Stop. That's the one. That's where we stayed, because we couldn't actually get a booking at Cheela Plains, but we dropped off the caravan there, unhitched, went to Cheela Plains for dinner, and we had a fantastic Wednesday night under the stars with that fire. Nice community vibes.
And then the following morning, they let us go for a hike on the property to a little cave that's actually on their property, and it was dog friendly to take the dog with us on that hike. So look, there is a couple of nice little things to do there, and just being at a station in general, it's just nice.
It's nice.
Socializing.
Yep. This was only one of my first stations, one of our first station stays in Australia.
Yeah,
if we could call it a station stay, but
yeah,
sort of
like
just
Bulara
snuck in
and
the back
Cheela
door.
were our first, that's for sure. Yeah, it was awesome. And look, again, great place to stop by, good food, and definitely, like, you can go for a dog hike.
Yep.
Dog hike.
The dog can go for a hike. You can go for a hike.
Yeah.
You can go for a hike with your dog as well. One thing we did forget to mention is the sunset. It's called a hike, but it's more of a walk. Basically, overlooking the station, there's a really nice, decent-sized hilltop. So you can walk up there. It takes about 15 minutes. And then you have panoramic views of all around the station and surrounding mountain ranges.
Yeah, so we
Fantastic
did that just
for
before
sunset.
dinner, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So that's definitely another little tick on the box, and it is a beautiful site, especially if this is kind of your first introduction to that real red dirt. It's a beautiful stop.
So on the way from Cheela Plains to Karijini, we decided to stop at Tom Price. It's a funny name for a town, but it does relate to someone famous from the United States, involved in mining back in the day.
Yeah.
But to be honest, it really actually surprised me at how modern, clean, and just nice that little town felt.
Well,
it's got
I
everything
guess
you
it's got
need.
a bit of money inserted into it, being a mining town, but it is really, really handy if you are going to be visiting the national park nearby, which is Karijini. Good thing is what? It's got coals. Well, coals, guys, coals in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we hadn't seen a Coles or a Woolworths since probably Carnarvon.
Yeah, true.
So we're talking about a lot of kilometres coming from south to north, where we didn't see a major supermarket. It was just IGAs, which are great. Happy to support the local community and farmers. But I was genuinely excited to see a Coles. Like,
and
it's
to be
weird.
honest, like, the prices weren't that like
pretty
hyped
reasonable.
or anything. It was still reasonable. It was just nice to be able to get like ice creams and like lollies and things that you weren't able to get like on the road. So it has the Coles. It also had a number of little cafes, nice coffee. There's a swimming pool.
Free water fill-ups and
dog-friendly off-leash parks.
It has a pet sitter and a kennel.
Kennels, yep.
And best of all, there's free water fill-ups. There's a couple of points in and around town where you can look on wiki camps.
Yeah,
so
that's
nice,
a
good
point.
clean water.
And rubbish bins.
Rubbish bins. So if you are looking to stay at where we're about to talk about next, just outside of Karijini National Park, Tom Price is a must-stop in terms of just refilling your tanks and making sure you've got all your food sorted. Because where we stayed, just outside of Karijini, it was about half an hour drive. Off-grid. But half an hour drive. So you don't want to be doing that drive too often if you can avoid it.
At least it's not too far. But the other thing to consider is we did meet some people that preferred to have their pets in kennels, and this is your last opportunity to drop your pets off if you're going to do that. So if you want to explore Karijini without the pets, Tom Price is where you can get the kennels. There's also day kennels there. So I think that the rangers have like a little place where you can bring a lock and just leave the dog if you really want to do it that way. Look, it's not for us, but we're not going to judge.
Leave the dog where?
In like a little kennel
cage.
Yeah. Don't talk about it. I can't say the word.
Yeah.
Look, but to be honest, no judgment here. Like, if that's what you need to do in order to see the places, that is perfectly a safe option for you to do. For us, it wasn't what we wanted to do, so we will explain to you how we managed to free camp and visit Karijini National Park and not miss one of the sites.
And our pets were happy, and so were we.
Yeah, we were absolutely happy. All right.
So, Karijini National Park. Being a national park, you are not allowed to bring your pets. Not your dog, not your cat, not your chicken, not your goat.
Of course.
But thankfully, just outside of the limits of the national park, and I mean literally a kilometre before you see the national park sign, is a place called Mount Bruce Bush Camp. So it's located on a hilltop just off the Bitumen Road. It's accessible to two-wheel drives, four-wheel drives, big rigs, and everything in between. Completely free camp.
No facilities.
No facilities.
No water. So you do have to have somewhere that you can go to the toilet.
Yep.
Somewhere that you can possibly shower and stuff like that if you want to. There is no way of doing that inside the national park without being dodgy. It's possible, but look, if you do really want to be, contained. There are toilets at some of the locations in the national park, so like if you're desperate, you might be able to go in. But yeah, it is a fully off-grid setup, but
it's bloody nice.
You can make it work, and it is absolutely
bloody nice.
Stunning.
Yeah.
The view from this rest stop is beautiful. And to be honest, there's more than one rest stop that's outside of the national park, and there's plenty of room. So It is definitely, a really, really good option that we found through Wikicamps.
Yep, definitely. And it's got red earth, well, red rock to be more accurate. And just watch your pooch's paws on that red rock, because some of them can be sharp. So
they have
put your mats
the
out.
dried out spinifex grass as well, so they're a little bit sharp. Paprika seemed to like that though.
Yeah,
Paprika was like rolling around in the spinifex
he was
grass.
a bit of a masochist. Like, he was enjoying spiking himself on that
Such a
grass.
cat.
It's a bit strange, but anyway, that's our Paprika. Another thing to note, just for that campsite, and look, it's more of a, be alert, not alarmed, but there are dingoes there.
There
Specifically, one resident dingo that decided to get really, really curious a number of times towards us and also Wally.
Yeah.
So Wally stood up a few times and sort of growled and barked, and the dingo went on his merry way. But we were still a little bit uncomfortable that one time where he got just a little too close.
And we did speak to other people who have travelled to this region before, and if you do see some of the reviews on Wikicamps, it sounds like there are sometimes packs of the wild dog, like mixed breeds, that have attacked other dogs, small dogs in the region. So look, you just have to be very careful. There's a lot of dingoes.
Yep.
Don't leave food out. Don't give any reason for your pets to be outside without you monitoring them in this location only.
Yep.
So yeah, look, enter at your own risk, but Wally did actually have a couple of growls off with a lone dingo. Thankfully he was a lone dingo, but yeah, it was actually quite a bit. Yeah, we'd never experienced that before, but Wally stood his ground.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good sport. And look, Paprika wasn't particularly around for that part of the evening. We put him inside, but Paprika was actually happy to roam quite freely outside of the caravan during daylight hours when we were around.
Monitoring.
Which is funny because he actually felt quite at ease there, even though he could clearly pick up on the scent of dogs and dingoes.
Yeah.
But that's our Paprika anyway.
Yeah. You are allowed fires there too,
Yep.
which we didn't mention. So that was kind of the most of the time when we would see the dingoes, kind of like at the start of us lighting our fire,
Yep.
somewhere between, the sun going down. So in the day it seems to be a bit better.
For sure. And there's plenty of wood around. There's heaps of dry wood. You can collect it in the surrounding bushland area.
Yeah.
And the stars.
Oh.
Wow, the stars in Karijini.
This
I
place
think
is
we were
so
there.
beautiful.
We were actually there during a full moon and days
Gosh,
around
it was
it.
like one of those monster moons.
Yeah,
super
and
moon.
even with that, we could still see massive amount of stars up in the sky. It was beautiful.
It was absolutely stunning, yeah.
So how do we make this work with a dog? Because, Karijini, it's not necessarily the easiest place to be in. Most of the gorges are between 25 and 40 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
How do we actually do it?
So we kind of firstly had to work out the weather and the time that we were there, and I think we were maxing out at maybe like 30 something degrees.
30 degrees,
30 degrees. So depending on your setup, if you have a caravan like us, to be honest, it was quite windy at the time we were there, so we were getting a breeze through the caravan. And so what we would decided to do is we would do 2 gorges a day, one early hours of the morning and one late afternoon, and that means we'd come back to our caravan in the middle of the day for lunch.
Yep.
Now, why did we do this?
Or we would just keep it to one gorge if it was one of the further ones.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And the reason we did this is, for one, we would get up early in the morning, tire out Wally as much as we could, and then literally put the babies into the caravan and go for our first gorge.
Yep.
Then come lunchtime, starting to get hungry, had a few hikes and a swim, would come back, spend the hottest part of the day with the pets, knowing that they would be, wanting to maybe go outside, needing to go to the toilet, things like that. Once the sun kind of started to ease off a little bit in the afternoons, we'd go back into the park and we'd do another hike.
Mm-hmm.
This worked perfectly for
Yep.
us.
Best part is that breeze in the afternoon would come through and it would really dramatically cool things
Yeah,
down. But
it was much cooler.
not just relying on the breeze. If you do have appropriate cooling mechanisms when you're
Even
off grid, such as multiple fans or like a high-speed fan is what we have, plus our babies had cooling mats, so they were quite comfortable inside. There weren't really any issues whatsoever with the heat.
And just making sure we weren't leaving them for more than 1 to 3 hours, like nothing longer. We were being very, very cautious of how long we were spending.
Which is actually really easy to do in Karijini, because in the next section we're going to talk about the days in which we visited each gorge, how far they are away, and provide a little bit of scenery and commentary. So on day 1 we visited Hammersley Gorge, which is 55 k's from the Mount Bruce camp, or 40 minutes along a mostly unsealed but good condition road. It was a 500 metre return walk from the car park, including a bit of stairs and rock scrambling to get to the spa pool, but once you get there, wow.
You would recognize this one from Instagram for sure, guys. This is that absolutely beautiful spot at the spa pool. But don't ever just stop there. There is an amazing gorge to be swam, and you can actually swim the whole way down this beautiful gorge.
On day 2, we visited Joffrey Gorge, which is 32 k's from the Mount Bruce camp or 25 minutes drive along a sealed road. It's a 1.8k return walk to get there, a pretty easy one, but once you arrive, you're rewarded with absolutely fantastic scenery.
And let's be honest, we had to get a video of Daniel getting into this water because it was freezing. And I, of course, went in first, but little old guy over here took his time to get in, but he was splashing before we knew it.
Yeah, definitely one worth visiting for sure. On day 3, we visited Hancock Gorge, which is our most favourite one of all. 41 k's from the Mount Bruce camp. It's a 1.1 return k walk. 1.1 kilometre return walk. And there is some swimming required through the gorge, so make sure you pack your
Dry
bags
Yeah.
or just don't bring your valuables.
We ended up leaving our stuff in like a little nook in one of the rocks and just continued on because we were a little bit underprepared with our backpack. But if you have a dry bag, you'll have no problems whatsoever. Or you know what, better what? Don't even bring anything if you don't have to. But to be honest, it is so fun. It's so worth the walk. It's like all little adventure things in one.
Including a photo shoot of Anita.
Oh, of course. And especially because there's a nice, beautiful pool at the end rewarding you.
Which is freezing cold.
Is it called Kermit's Pool?
Kermit's Pool, that's the one.
Kermit's Pool. So
phenomenal.
Yeah, it was absolutely stunning. Daniel was too chicken to get into the water this day, so there's a video of me.
I actually
jumping
did get
in.
in the water, thank you very
come
much.
On. That's what he says.
Anyway, thumbs up to this one. On day 4, we packed in Dales Gorge, Fortescue Falls and Fern Pool. 59 k's from the Mount Bruce camp. This is one of the further sites away, but it was only a 40-minute drive along a sealed road. Now, there's a few options to get in here. There is a 4.3 kilometre loop where you can visit all 3 destinations, or you can go straight to Fortescue Falls and then visit Fern Pool from there.
It's just amazing. Like, honestly, you'll see us now just hopping and jumping around trying to do this beautiful hike. You'll see us frolicking, swimming. Just honestly, there is just so much to do at this little spot.
The water wasn't even that cold.
Here's Dan frolicking, like I was saying, hopping and skipping.
Yeah.
And there's a beautiful hike behind there that takes you through nature, beautiful gum trees, beautiful scenery. Honestly, this is just absolutely gorgeous. I've got my safari gear on, looking pretty cute.
And then you get to Fern Pool, which is actually a sacred Aboriginal space, I think, for women's business.
Yeah.
And you are allowed to swim, provided you are respectful and quiet. The water is super clear, and it's got a very special feel about it.
It really does, and there's a beautiful waterfall that you can swim up to, but yeah, make sure that you read the board.
Last but not least, make sure you visit Kalamina Gorge. It's 47 k's from Mount Bruce camp, 2.7k walk in there. Looks very, very nice. A little bit of rock scrambling, but you don't have to swim.
I'm pretty sure that this is the day we saw a snake, right?
That's right, we saw a snake. We also made some friends, and this kind of reminds me a bit of a Garden of Eden, like what I would expect an Aussie Garden of Eden to be like.
It's very special again. Like, all of these places in Karijini are just unique in their own way, and honestly, it's not worth missing any of them. So pack it in, get in there and see everything you can.
And have a swim at this one as well. Definitely worth it.
You know, guys, best of all, this is totally an unmissable part of Western Australia or any other part of Australia that you want to travel to. You can do it with your pets. You don't need to compromise.
And you can
whether
do it for
you,
free.
yeah, whether you do sort of our model and leave them safely in the caravan, or whether you want to leave them with sitters in Tom Price, this is definitely an unmissable one.
Absolutely.
So thanks for watching another episode of Wander Pause. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we hope that we've given you some value and inspiration to continue or start your journey. Let us know what you thought in the comments, and anything else we can help answer.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.